This is Abdul Saad, clinical psychologist at Vital Mind Psychology here in Sydney, Australia. And today I'm going to be discussing the topic 5 ways empaths or the empath self-sabotages in the workplace. Now the dynamics I'm going to be describing apply to workplace settings, but they can be also more generally applied to other interpersonal relationships the empath has. Thank you again for your continued support of the channel. Please don't forget to subscribe. Check out my website, vitalmind.com.au. Also check out the practice on Facebook, Vital Mind Psychology. Leave us a like. Continue to enjoy the comments and your engagement that the YouTube community has shown to the channel and to my videos. So away with the topic. The first way the empath self-sabotages in the workplace is by revealing too much about themselves and assuming a greater level of closeness with their colleagues than actually exists. So what I'm referring to here is the tendency of the empath to be an open book in the workplace, revealing far too much about themselves to their colleagues, about their personal life, their past and present struggles, without adequately assessing how appropriate this is, and often doing a lot of revealing very early on when they start in the workplace, putting themselves at a strategic disadvantage in the workplace by doing so. Now, when the empath does this oversharing, it obviously has negative ramifications. It attracts the wrong types of attention. It can alienate other colleagues who aren't necessarily narcissists, but it can alienate people who begin to view the empath as needy, as someone that requires a lot of attention. It can also, of course, attract narcissists to the empath who uses the information that the empath has given to their own advantage in order to manipulate, in order to extract sympathy or various emotional states or favors from the empath. So the empath really needs to be aware that, as I said, revealing too much about yourself puts you at a strategic disadvantage in the workplace, opens you up to all sorts of emotional manipulation, opens you up to become a lot more vulnerable to office or workplace politics in general. So it's not a good idea, and empaths definitely need a high level of mindfulness when it comes to how much they reveal in the workplace. The second way the empath self-sabotages in the workplace is by forming unhealthy alliances with needy colleagues who drain them of their energy. Now, we've perhaps heard the saying, misery loves company, and nowhere is this more true than in the empath and in his or her relationships. Attracting the sort of colleagues who dump upon the empath, who drain them of their energy with their constant complaining. And the empath, because they believe their needs are not legitimate and they have to always be nice and listen, of course, gets locked into this sort of pathological sort of dynamic where they're on the constant receiving end of the other person's criticisms and cynicisms and complaints. Now, this can also create an unhealthy alliance between the empath and the other colleague, in that the other colleague also begins to reinforce the empath's view of the world and of reality, of people being against them, of people being selfish, of their needs not being met, and this sort of symbiotic relationship can develop into a paralysis of sorts where both people heap misery upon each other and bring each other down without much practical strategies of how to overcome the problems or the situations they are complaining about. This also creates one-way intimacy of the empath and leads to resentment and reduced job satisfaction. The third way the empath self-sabotages in the workplace is by always saying yes, being too afraid to impose boundaries, being too afraid to say no, because they operate with the belief that if they say no, if they give an opinion, if they tell their employer or their colleagues they can't do something, this makes them a bad person, a selfish person. So being too nice, being too compliant often leads the empath to be saddled with higher amounts of work. The empath becomes the go-to person where jobs no one else wants to do are dumped on the empath. And of course, this leads the empath to feelings of resentment, to feelings of being burnt out, and it reinforces the empath's underlying worldview. The world is unfair, people are selfish, and they will take advantage of you every opportunity they have. The fourth way the empath self-sabotages in the workplace is by entering into covert contracts with their employer and co-workers. Now, what this simply means is the empath enters into a hidden contract, basically, that if I work hard, if I self-sacrifice, if I do all the crappy jobs no one else wants to do, then I expect to be recognized, I expect to move up the ladder, to be promoted, to be respected. And of course, because the contract is covert, the empath has not made explicit what they expect when they give. Most often, they don't end up getting what they had hoped to get or expected to get. Again, the same result, resentment, cynicism, hostility, keeping the empath locked into this vicious cycle and worldview of, the world is hostile and people are selfish and cannot meet my needs. The fifth way the empath self-sabotages in the workplace and in their career more generally is by playing it too safe, staying in jobs which are unsatisfying, being too risk-averse, holding on to something that is unsatisfactory when better opportunities come knocking, because they adopt an anxious view of the world and believe the world is not a bountiful place, resources are scarce and limited, and their needs and aspirations cannot be met and will not be met. So the empath, by doing this, is operating on an anxiety-based view of the world. Things can go wrong at any moment. I need to hold on to what I have. Very limiting perspective. And this can then lead to the empath holding on or remaining in workplaces, in jobs, in occupations which are both physically and psychologically destructive. And of course, this can manifest all sorts of problems for the empath in their life outside of work as well. So I wanted to keep the video brief. I wanted to succinctly go through those 5 points. I'd like them to be food for thought, perhaps reflect upon, do any of these fit within your lived experience? Can any of these 5 dynamics I've outlined be applied to other relationships, other interpersonal dynamics outside of the workplace? And hopefully to give some thought into how if you become more conscious and aware of these 5 dynamics, how you can begin to use or to convert the insight that you've got from the video that you're watching into some practical strategies to not to keep repeating these same dynamics and expecting different results. So thanks again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe. Check out my website, my Facebook page, leave comments, which, as I said, I read, and I hope I can continue to make some more videos. I think with this video, this brings this latest series on the narcissistic personality pathology, on the empath-narcissist dynamic, to a natural close for this series. It doesn't mean I'm not going to touch this topic again. And in the next video I have planned, I'll be discussing the childhood origins of obsessive compulsive disorder. Please feel free to suggest video topics, titles, areas of interest. I'm thinking also of perhaps in the future doing a series on narcissism and society, how narcissism manifests in society, narcissism in various professions, the misuse of religion amongst narcissists, narcissism in the helping professions, narcissism in various aspects. So that's just a thought at the moment for a future series, but stay tuned for more great content that is original. I'm not watching other people's YouTube videos. I, on purpose, do not watch YouTube videos about narcissism, about the empath, because I want my content to be original, to be unique, to be cutting edge. So I'm not out there watching a whole bunch of other people's stuff. I respect what other people do, but I like to keep what I do original. And hopefully my subscriber base is getting to know that. And I thank you for your support here from Sydney, Australia. This is Abdul Saad, clinical psychologist, and I will see you soon with a new video in a week's time, God willing.